Welcome back, whiskey fans. Let's mix it up a bit. Let's have another random single cask whiskey from our discounted whiskey advent calendar. Store number 5. I think it's been going pretty well so far. We've had some really good, nice little kind of craft presented, unusual, characterful drams. Let's hope we get another one. Number 5. Beautiful colour. Look at it. I love that. When you get a whiskey which you can tell that it's almost certainly refill bourbon, and you know that it's going to let the distillate speak for itself. Oh, and it certainly does. Lovely. There is something to be said about whiskey where it doesn't have the cask getting in the way. And I think we've had a few like that already. I think that probably the majority of the drams that we've had from this single cask calendar so far, they are not too covered up. I think that the Penderyn is possibly the exception there, but the other 3 have been very spirit driven, which is something that I love. But this one here actually reminds me a little bit of the English Whisky Company, like the rum cask and the bourbon maturations that you get from the English Whisky Company, because it's got that slightly sharp, citrusy, slightly grapefruity, bit of sweet citrus in there as well. Nice and sharp, citrus-driven maltiness. It's really all about the actual whiskey rather than covering up the barley and the distilled barley spirit with something else in the cask. Quite dry. It's got a nice astringency to it, which is probably why I said grapefruit. Astringent mustiness, slightly sour, very fruity, tropical fruit, grapefruit. A little bit of a creaminess. It's also got a little bit of a prickle, but I love that. It's like tinned fruit in like evaporated milk or cream. Creamy, fruity, sharp. This is what whiskey should be. Let's have a little sip. Mmm. That is an incredible whiskey at full strength, but I think this is quite a strong one. I think this is going to be high 50s or above. It definitely has a punch to it, and reminds me a little bit of Arran as well, Isle of Arran. In the, I don't know if it was last year, I think it was, the advent calendar, we had the Man with the Golden Glass from the Isle of Arran distillery, and I loved that stuff. It was really good. Really, really good, and I was very tempted to buy a bottle of it. If it wasn't for the fact that it's going to be very hard to find now, I probably would have bought a bottle of it, because it's got this same juicy and sharp and creamy, malty, just whiskey profile. But the same as that Arran, I think this is quite strong, probably stronger than the Arran. And I'm wondering if a little bit of water might help it to open up a little bit more. So I think I'm going to have one more sip and then try adding some water. Quite an esteriness to this one. Actually reminds me of like a Long Pond rum. It's got that proper estery, slightly airplane glue esteriness to it, which is not a bad thing. It's just another facet to the character of this whiskey. Esteriness is another one of those things that a lot of people always talk about in the same way as peat. They talk about it being challenging. And I can understand how peat is challenging and it's not for everyone, because I'll admit that myself, 20 years ago when I was first starting to try peated whiskey, I did not like it. I tried things like Bowmore 12 and it was far too earthy and muddy and I just didn't enjoy it. A couple of years later, I moved on to things like Lafroig and Ardbeg and I really started to get a taste for it and I've been hooked ever since. But esteriness, the kind of estery fruit bomb profile that you get in a lot of rums that I'm getting in this a little bit as well. It's kind of something that you get from a longer fermentation or a fermentation at a hotter temperature sometimes. And some people talk about that being challenging, but I've always loved that really fruity, full-on fruit bomb flavour profile. Definitely a little bit rummy. Fantastic though, this is going to be, I think it's going to be sort of on a similar level as like the Tullibardine and the Linkwood. But it's going to be one of the better ones that we've had so far, to my personal preference anyway. So one more sip. Creamy, fruity, sharp, intense. Intense but not trying too hard. Lovely, creamy, slightly smoky. I don't think it's peat. I think it's just coming through from a little bit of barrel char and just a dry cereally note, which is kind of a pseudo smokiness. But I'm going to have to cover that one up and do a cut in the editing and come back to that in a few minutes, because that is incredible and it deserves some time. Giving that a little bit of time. To be honest, not too much. I probably should have given it longer, but I'm anxious. I want to try it because I was so impressed with that first nosing. And the reason why I've added water is because I think that this is going to be like at least 55%, possibly 60%. And adding that little bit of water, it's knocked down the prickle a little bit. I'm not sure that it's opened up yet, although it may just be that I've not given it quite enough time. Just beautiful, creamy, malty, fruity. It has definitely got a mustiness to it, a proper, maybe slightly fermentary and a little bit of barrel char, and just some real barley character coming through. Beautiful, musty, slightly mealy, like olive brine. Lemon. I think that a lot of gin lovers would like this one. It's really got a lot of the things that can be great about a good gin, but much better. But similar flavours. Some of the flavours, if you like gin, this will probably appeal to you. Definitely Scotch though. Where do I think this is from? I think that it has a lot in common with Arran, unpeated Lochranza. I think that it's got a little bit of a Bladnoch character to it as well. It's got that kind of lowlands, fermentary, light and floral. Light in profile, but not light in weight, if that makes sense. Let's have another sip. White fruits. Apricot, peaches, cream, grape. I think that the grapefruit and that slightly tart and sharp note has died down a bit now that I've added some water, which is fine. If I had a bottle of this, I would drink some of it with water and some without, I think, because it's great both ways. I think on the nose, it doesn't change too much with water, but on the palate, it does change a bit. But both are superb. This is something that I want. And that colour. Honest whiskey. Let's see what it is. Let's see what we've got. Kingsbarns. Oh, Kingsbarns. It is a 5-year-old Kingsbarns. Oh my god, it's cask number 107. No. Cask number 1712007. Do they really have 1.7 million casks at Kingsbarns? If they do, that's incredible. It is a single malt Scotch whisky. It's 5 years old. It's from Kingsbarns. I guessed 55 to 60%. It is 61. But that is absolutely phenomenal. If you like bourbon matured whiskey that has a very light cask influence, which is wonderfully light and fruity, this is what you need. I don't know what the price is for this stuff, but I think it's obviously it's limited edition because it's single cask. But if you can get something like this from Kingsbarns for under £100 and you like that profile, you should. Kingsbarns is rapidly becoming my favourite lowland distillery. I think that the Dream to Dram expression that they did was incredible. The samples that we've had from Kingsbarns in the advent calendars, they've been great as well, but I think this one is a step up. I think the last Kingsbarns we had in the advent was a 7-year-old sherry cask, I think. This is better. This is really, really good. Just everything that you want in a bourbon or refill matured whiskey. I don't actually know this. It's refill bourbon, but it smells and tastes like it is to me. I don't think that there's any sherry there. I don't think that there's anything wacky like wine. I would say that I don't think there's any STR because a lot of new distilleries like to do that, and Kingsbarns have used STR casks before, but in my opinion, when Kingsbarns use STR, it doesn't taste like STR. It's much, much better than what the average distillery gets out of an STR cask. So it could be STR, but it smells and tastes to me like a wonderful refill bourbon cask. But it is a top-notch whiskey. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of Kingsbarns, because I think they are bloody amazing. And I feel a purchase of Kingsbarns whiskey in my near future. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Cheers.